Really ain't nothing else to say. The New York Knicks are done. I saw this coming, and I told y'all early in this series when those guys decided to sit out. Well, I wouldn't even say that. Though it just was some bad coaching by Tom Thibodeau, not using his bench properly, injuries, some not necessarily serious injuries, but some nicks and knacks here and there. And really throughout the entire series, the problem with the Knicks has been turnovers. And last night was the story of the game. They had more turnovers than probably points, felt like. I mean, it just was just a continuous. I think the Knicks, make sure y'all tap that like, subscribe to get more content. We're trying to grow this channel, so let's get me likes, get as much support as we can get. But the truth of the matter is, man, the Knicks they dug their own grave last night. And I said that was one of the keys to the game. They had to come out with a sense of urgency, and they did not. They came out there just playing around, wasn't taking care of the basketball. Now, much credit to Rick Carlisle for implementing some great defense. Neesmith was I mean, literally, Jalen Brunson was wearing Neesmith like a t-shirt. I mean, he was all over him. I mean, it's just the truth of the matter, But the thing is, Brunson still got, 25, 27, 28 points, So he's still, he's one of the most clutch players, in crunch time. But Tyrese Halliburton is just more clutch than he is. And I said it was going to come down to those two, who was going to have the better games. And, Tyrese Halliburton, to me, I think he has a better supporting cast. Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner was huge last night. He controlled the boards, getting the rebounds, going back up, second chance, second shot, second and third shot opportunities. I just think they wanted it more than the Knicks. They were hustling more than the Knicks. And, the Knicks kept coming back. But the Pacers, never one point in the game where you felt like the Pacers were going to lose. Like they controlled literally the pace. They were the Pacers. They controlled the pace of the game, the tempo of the game. They just seemed to want it more. And it just came down to a matter of who was hustling the most. What's going on? What's going on, man? I see you in the building. It just came down to who wanted it more. And at the end of the day, the New York Knicks were playing with no sense of urgency. They weren't hustling like they should have been. They were committing dumb fouls, unnecessary fouls. And above all, they would just turn the ball over a lot. And that's just what it came down to. Tom Thibodeau, he'll learn a lesson from this to utilize his bench. Now, do I think that the Knicks could potentially win Game 6? Yes. I'm hoping this series will stretch out to 6, possibly 7. But do I think that the New York Knicks can beat the Pacers 3 straight times? Absolutely not. When they could barely win one game. Because when it comes down to it, no. Now, I think it's going to favor the Knicks in Game 5. When it comes down to the wire because of the home court advantage in that sense. But they'll never regain home court advantage in theory in this series, in actuality. But I just think it just, I hate to say this, but I think the Pacers going to get them in 5, man. And it's crazy because it's going to be like, when you look at the series, the Knicks did fight hard. It seems like it's going to end up being a long, short series. I've seen those before where it's a competitive 5-game series, but the reason the Knicks are down 3-1 is because of their own mistakes. Just dumb mistakes. Turnovers is they're gonna look back at this series and when they look at why they lost, it's gonna come down to the fact that they just didn't hustle. And at this point in time, it's just they didn't protect the basketball. I'll say that. And at this point, the only thing left to do is say the benediction. I mean, this thing's over with. It's done. It's a 3-1 is a death sentence. You know it. I know it. That's why only a select few, I think a handful of people have ever come back from 3-1 deficit. And that's the reason why. And the Knicks will be no exception. This is your boy, Brandon Love Sports TV. Let this be a lesson. I don't think the Knicks are done. I think they'll be back next year. I don't think they need to make a lot of huge trades. I think they got keep the guys they got. They just need to play smarter basketball, protect the ball better. Because I can see this matchup happen again next year in the Eastern Conference, especially with the Boston Celtics not having Jason Tatum all year long. And I just think that the Celtics won't be a factor. I can see the same two teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Knicks they're gonna learn their lesson. They'll be back, and it's just gonna come down to them just protecting the ball and not getting so many unnecessary turnovers. All right, Brandon Love Sports TV. This your boy. Shout out to the LDBC Lions Den basketball community. I'll be back later to give my predictions and my thoughts on the Western Conference Finals. All right, I'm out. Peace.